it turned out fishing was pretty good around that little island. There were lots of catfish. But then a couple of alligators made that discovery, and well, you know alligators, they can't keep a secret for nothing. And before you know it, there were more alligators around that island than you could shake a stick at. Because there's nothing an alligator likes better than a mouthful of fish. Of course, the same thing can be said for cajuns. And some cajuns in their little houseboat decided to come over to this side of the island to do a little fishing for supper. Well, the alligators don't like to share anything, particularly their source of food. So every time the cajuns would throw their bait overboard, the alligators would nibble the bait off the hook. That didn't upset our cajuns too much. They're pretty laid-back kind of guys. They decided that if I can't fish for fish, I'll fish for some alligator. So they put bigger chunks of meat on their hooks and threw it right overboard to catch some alligator for supper. Because the cajun would just soon have alligator for supper anyway. Now, folks want to know what alligators eat. Well, here at the Alligator Park, we feed our alligators third graders. So if any of you have any third graders with you, just leave them at the front desk on your way out. We can always use the extra gator bait. Actually, alligators are carnivores. They'll eat any kind of meat, snakes or fish or birds, anything in the water or anything that gets close to the water's edge. It can be bigger than deer, small as a raccoon, or anything and everything in between, depending, of course, on the size of the alligator. Here at the Alligator Park, we feed our alligators chicken. Now watch how they jump up out of the water. Alligators have very sharp teeth, but the teeth are not designed for chewing. Alligators can't chew their food at all. Alligators have to swallow all of their food. The Native Americans that used to live in this part of the country hundreds of years ago worshipped, honored, and hunted alligators. They often used alligator teeth and claws to make necklaces, and would wear those necklaces out to battle or wear them out hunting, because they believed as long as they wore the necklace, they would have the courage and the strength of the alligator. Way down in South Louisiana, there's a little town called Grand Lake. It's a small town by today's standards, but hundreds of years ago it was the home to some very large Native American tribes. These tribes were mound builders. Indian mounds are fairly common in Louisiana, but the mound at Grand Lake is quite unique. It is shaped like an 800-foot-long alligator. It was used for ceremonies and is still open for the public to see. The American alligator can live as far north as southern Arkansas, as far east as North and South Carolina, as far west as eastern Texas, and in the south, if the state opens onto the Gulf of Mexico, there will be populations of alligators in that state, with more alligators in the state of Florida and Louisiana than any other states in the nation. Wildlife experts estimate that there can be as many as 2.4 million wild alligators in our state. Can you imagine that? That's roughly the population of Houston, Texas. Let's face it, folks, we have alligators in every pond, lake, river, stream, and bayou in the state. I've even seen alligators in some of our bigger potholes. So we have to get used to alligators in Louisiana. So here are some tips for living with these alligators. This is in case you're visiting in one of our lakes or rivers in our state and happen to run across an alligator. Tip number 1. Whatever you do, don't ever feed an alligator. If you're picnicking on one of our lakes or rivers and you see an alligator, don't leave food out for him. Alligators can take care of themselves, and they very quickly learn to associate humans with food. That means if there are ever people around, they'll expect to be fed. And if they don't get fed when they think they ought to get fed, you'll end up with what we call a nuisance alligator. They just won't leave people alone. There was a lady who lives just north of here in the little town of Powhatan. They have a large pond in their backyard. One summer, an alligator took up residence in the pond. Well, the family thought it was pretty cool. Every time the grandkids came over or their neighbors came over, they fed the alligator. Well, it got to the point that every time the back door slammed, here came the alligator up out of the water ready for something to eat. One morning, the lady started to go out on her back porch and discovered that she couldn't open the back door. Yeah, the alligator was on the back porch. It climbed up 5 steps and was just laying out there sunning himself. I guess he decided to go where the food was rather than the food come to him. Well, they had to called the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries to come get the alligator, but because the alligator had lost his fear of humans, they could not relocate him to another lake in the area, so they had to put the gator down. They had to kill him, and that's kind of sad. So whatever you do, don't feed the alligator. It's dangerous for us and definitely dangerous for him. And tip number 2, it's best you just leave an alligator alone altogether. If you see one on the bank of the river or the lake that you're visiting, don't go take a closer look. Alligators are wild animals and very unpredictable, so it's best you just leave them alone. Let's just put it this way, if that alligator grabs your leg, it ain't going to be your leg no more. When the alligator looks at you, he's only thinking one of 3 things. Actually, that's about all he can think. Because you see, an alligator's brain is about the size of your thumb. Now, he'll look at you with that little pea brain of his, and he'll say to himself, "That's ugly, and I don't want no part of that." Or number 2, he'll look at you with those beady little eyes of his, and he'll say to himself, "Now I wonder what that would taste like with ketchup." Or number 3, if it happens to be a redneck alligator, you've got trouble. Because a redneck alligator has an attitude, and there ain't nothing worse than a gator with an attitude. He'll look at you with that major little attitude of his, and he'll say to himself, "So tough, and I think I can take him on." And if he thinks he can take you on, he'll start slinging that head from side to side and slinging that tail from side to side and start a hissing. He'll look about like an 800-pound weed eater. Now, you can run, but if that alligator chases you, my money will be on the gator, because for short distances and at a sprint, an alligator can outrun a horse. So I hope you wear your Nikes, and I hope you come to a log you can jump over and he can't. Otherwise, you're going to be about 1 foot shorter than you are right now. Watch how those alligators are swimming. See how they have their heads, body, and tail above the surface of the water? They can swim like that, or if they choose, they can drop like a rock to the bottom of the water and walk across the bottom of the lake or the river they live in. Or they can swim between the surface of the water and the bottom of the water, just like a submarine, and completely undetected. The alligator's tail is very powerful. Now, our arms and legs are a series of muscles that allow for movements, but an alligator's tail is actually one large single muscle. It's very powerful. They use it to propel themselves through the water at about 6 to 8 miles an hour, or they use their tails on land to knock the feet out from under their prey. Well, it looks like our cajuns are running out of food for those alligators. Now, they don't have any catfish for supper, and they haven't caught an alligator. You know, I bet if they checked their traps, they could probably find some crawfish. Ooh, now don't that sound good? That would definitely please the whole Cajun family. It looks like they're getting ready to head on back home. So what about a round of applause for our feeders? Oh no, I forgot about those guys on the island. We could have rescued them by now, but now the boat's almost out of range, so I guess we'll just have to wait till the next show to rescue those poor guys. You've seen the alligators eating. Now you may want to try eating some alligator. Run by the Gator Bite snack shop at the main building. They can fix you up with alligator bites, alligator kebabs, and even alligator sausage.